Chapter 17, Concentration. Within sports, coaches and athletes often use the words concentration, attention, and focus interchangeably. To effectively utilize these tools, it may be helpful to define each term. Concentration is the ability to perform with a clear and present focus. What then is focus? Focus has been defined as a central point of one's attention. Attention is simply what an individual is observing. When put together, an individual who is concentrating is said to have their attention focused clearly and presently on the task at hand. Once an athlete has developed the skills necessary for competition, their ability to control one's attention in order to concentrate on the demands of the task is essential to consistently executing these skills. We hear the word focus more and more when athletes and coaches discuss getting ready to play and when they evaluate actual performance. Staying focused for an entire game or competition is often the key to victory, or losing that focus is the ticket to failure. Even a brief loss of concentration can result in a decrease in performance and may affect the overall outcome. So what is concentration? Concentration is commonly called attention. For the purposes of this lecture, concentration and attention will be used interchangeably. Concentration or attention can be either internal or external, and broad or narrow. When athletes are focused inwards, focusing on things such as their thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, they are said to have an internal focus. Athletes who are focused on the environment outside of themselves, paying attention to things such as weather conditions, are using external focus. In terms of width, a broad focus is when athletes are paying attention to many things at once. For example, examining an opponent's alignment, whereas focusing on a specific point, such as the spot on the ball where a kicker wants to hit it, is considered narrow. During competitions, athletes are often called upon to shift across these dimensions in order to meet the required attentional demands of the situation. Concentration or attention. In the most basic sense, concentration is the ability to maintain focus on relevant cues. This is the ability to take possession by the mind in clear and vivid form, or one out of what seems several simultaneous possible objects or trains of thoughts. Focalization, concentration of consciousness are the essence. It implies withdrawal from some things in order to deal effectively with others. Concentration is the ability to maintain focus on relevant environmental cues. When the environment changes rapidly, attentional focus must also change rapidly. Thinking of the past or the future raises irrelevant cues that often lead to performance errors. There are three components to concentration or attention. Number 1, focus on relevant environmental cues, also called selective attention. There are different ways to focus. External focus centers on things outside of the body, while internal focus is centered on the body. An external focus of attention is more beneficial to performance in a variety of tasks, including balance, accuracy, speed, endurance, and maximum force production, all important aspects of sport participation. Number 2, maintain attentional focus. Focus may be required to be maintained for the duration of competition. Research has suggested that the median length of time during which the thought content remains on target is approximately 5 seconds. And have situational awareness. This requires that we understand what is going on around us. This ability allows players to size up game situations, opponents, and competitions to make appropriate decisions based on the situation, frequently under pressure and within short periods of time. Concentration and optimal performance. We see better concentration and optimal performance in elite athletes. In elite athletes, peak performance is associated with an attitude or demeanor of being absorbed in the present. They are mentally relaxed with high concentration and control. They are also in a state of extraordinary awareness. They are aware of their body and the external environment at the same time. There are several key points to attentional focus that we should touch on. There are several types of focus that are used. Concentration occurs along a continuum. Various types of attentional focus are appropriate for specific sports and activities. Attentional focus is viewed along different dimensions, width either broad or narrow, and direction, either external or internal. We also should be able to shift our attentional focus. Shifting attention during a task is important, especially during athletic activity. The athletic environment changes very rapidly. When the environment changes, so must our focus. When time pressures are added, such as being on a shot clock, the difficulty of completing tasks is enhanced. The following is the attentional focus practice, which can be used at training and athletic events. There are 4 types of attentional focus. Number 1, assess. This is external and broad attention. This is used to evaluate the environment and allows players to read the game, such as anticipating an opponent's movement, ball direction, or other visual cues. This shifts the focus of the general external environment that is often changing rapidly throughout a performance. For example, a quarterback scanning the defense prior to the beginning of a play. The second one is perform. We can act or react. This is external and narrow attention. This is effective for focusing on objects when performing a movement or action, such as the visual cueing of the ball prior to hitting. This is a shift in the focus towards outward executions of a given skill. For example, a tennis player focusing on her toss as she begins to serve. The third one is analyze. This is internal and broad attention. This assists us with analyzing or reviewing past information and decision-making skills. For example, analyzing a point or evaluating match strategies. This shifts our focus to reviewing one's general thoughts and emotions throughout a performance. For example, a golfer considering shot selection prior to addressing the ball. The last one is rehearse. This is internal and narrow attention. This permits mental rehearsal. For example, using imagery to simulate a positive emotional state. This is a shift in focus to ready oneself to execute a given skill. For example, mental rehearsal. An example of this would be a basketball player reviewing their self-talk prior to shooting a free throw. A broad attentional focus allows a person to perceive several occurrences simultaneously. A narrow attentional focus occurs when you respond to only 1 or 2 cues. An external attentional focus directs attention outward towards an object, and an internal attentional focus is directed inward to thoughts and feelings. These are pictorial examples of the 4 types of attentional focus. We'll start with narrow and external. This is used to focus exclusively on 1 or 2 external cues, such as a golf ball. Broad and external. This is used to rapidly assess a situation, such as a football quarterback rapidly assessing the position of the defensive backs. Narrow and internal. This is used to mentally rehearse an upcoming performance or control an emotional state, such as mentally rehearsing a golf putt or taking a breath to relax. And finally, broad and internal. This is used to analyze and plan, such as developing a game plan or a strategy. Unfortunately, attention and concentration can be difficult to maintain. So what is the problem? Unfortunately, many people do not have the ability to shift their focus quickly and/or effectively. Concentration problems are frequently caused by inappropriate attentional focus. At any given point during a performance, athletes are faced with a number of potential distractors. Just as one's focus can be both internal and external, so too are distractors. External distractors could be visual or auditory and may include other competitors, spectators, and the media. Internal distractors may include negative self-talk, fatigue, and emotional arousal. A change in one's thoughts and emotions can lead to physiological changes as well. Coaches and competitors often refer to this process as choking. Although many individuals have different definitions of choking, it is most often associated with a rapid deterioration in performance during an important competitive situation. The choking process involves physiological and psychological changes that may affect performance, usually negatively. For example, an athlete who is competing in an important game may develop an increased muscle tension and increased anxiety, which causes an overly narrow focus and inability to identify relevant environmental cues. Effectively helping the athlete to manage their thoughts and emotions may allow them to regain the attentional control. One of my favorite examples of someone losing concentration is Doug, the dog from the movie Up.
My master made me this collar. He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk. Squirrel!
I think most of us can probably identify with Doug. At some point during our lives, we've lost attention, and we've all had those squirrel moments. So why do people have attentional issues? One issue could be from distractions. Distractions can alter our ability to adapt to changes, and also the speed at which we do so. Some distractions are internal distractions, meaning that they come from within ourselves. These are our thoughts, worries, and concerns. Some examples of internal distractions include past events. Some individuals cannot forget about what has just happened, especially if it was a bad mistake. Future events. When we worry about what may happen in the future, we tend to lose focus on what is going on at the moment. Also, choking under pressure. Emotional factors, such as the pressure of competition, can affect an individual's performance. This tends to focus on bad performance at critical points in a game or competition. Overanalysis of body mechanics. Once you have learned a skill, the movement should be fairly automatic. Your attention should be primarily on what you're doing with minimal amount of thinking. Also, fatigue. Since concentration requires mental effort, it can be affected through fatigue. Fatigue reduces the amount of processing resources that are available to the athlete to meet the demands of the situation. External distractors come from stimuli in the environment that divert people's attention from the cues relevant to their performance. Some examples are visual distractions. There are many visual distractions in an environment that can compete for our attention. Spectators can cause a visual distraction as well as scoreboards and also television camera crews. Auditory distractions. Noise may also detract from an individual's attention or concentration. Gamesmanship. You may receive auditory, visual, or physical interruptions from your opponents as well. And then physical interruptions. So let's examine choking a little further. Choking occurs when attentional processes lead to impaired performance and an inability to regain control over performance without outside assistance. It is associated with thinking too much. It's not necessarily the same as panicking, though. Panicking is associated with thinking too little. We revert to instincts and quit thinking logically. How we lose in sports really doesn't matter. Either way, we've missed the mark. It can matter a lot in some situations, so we need to pay attention to this. The choking process is shown here. Choking is an attentional problem. There are some conditions that may lead to choking, such as important competitions, critical events in the competition, or even evaluations by coaches, peers, parents, and maybe even teachers. Sensing pressure can cause your muscles to tighten. Your heart rate and breathing increase, and your mouth gets dry, and your palms get damp. The key breakdown occurs at the attentional level. Instead of focusing externally on the relevant cues in your environment, you focus on your own worries and fears of losing and failing. As your attention becomes narrow and internal, the increase in pressure reduces your flexibility to shift your attentional focus. You may have problems changing your focus as the situation dictates. Impaired timing and coordination, fatigue, muscle tension, and poor decision-making soon follow. Here is a real-life example of choking in sports. We may have a condition, such as a softball player choking when they're trying to hit with someone on base. The resulting physical changes may include increased neck and shoulder tension, gripping the bat tighter, and breathing may become more rapid. Attentional changes can occur. The individual may begin to talk to themselves and shift their attention. They may talk to themselves using phrases such as "don't blow it, you can do it," "relax," or "watch the ball, stupid." These are examples of negative self-talk. Performance impairments may result, such as reacting too slowly because you are thinking too much, or getting angry and rushing your swing or jumping at the ball. Self-talk occurs when you think about something. In a sense, you are talking to yourself. Self-talk has many potential uses besides enhancing concentration, such as breaking bad habits, initiating action, sustaining effort, and acquiring skills. Self-talk includes any statement or thought, either overt or covert dialogue. Self-talk helps to focus on the present and to keep the mind from wandering, if it's appropriate at the time. Positive self-talk will improve performance and confidence. It aids in cognitive restructuring, and it's an excellent coping mechanism. Some techniques for self-talk include thought stopping. We first need to identify negative thoughts. Then we stop the thought. It helps to focus on task-relevant thoughts. Negative self-talk may sound like, "He robbed me on the line. That ball was in." Positive self-talk, on the other hand, may sound a little different. Something like, "There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to worry about it. If I play well, I'll win anyway." Self-talk is typically done by using cue words or phrases. Self-talk is probably better if it is instructional in nature rather than general. Self-talk is categorized in 3 ways. It may focus on something that is task-specific or relating to the technique. It can also focus on encouragement and effort, or self-talk may focus on mood words. Self-talk should be brief and simple. It should be logically associated with the skill, and it should be compatible with the sequence and the timing of the skill. There are tons of evidence and research for the usefulness of self-talk in athletics and even in academics. So it might be worth being kinder to ourselves. Using positive self-talk can help you on exams, can help you with assignments, and may also increase your physical performance. if you're into exercise or sporting events or athletic events. Individuals who practice self-talk should develop a competition plan, practice eye contact, work on staying focused in the present, overlearn skills so that they know the details of all the skills, run through dress rehearsals, and practice mental rehearsals as well. Athletes recognize that maintaining concentration is critical to performing their best, yet figuring out what to focus on and maintaining the correct attentional focus during performance is not easy. There are, however, exercises that may be helpful to improving one's ability to concentrate during competition. So since concentration can be trained, how do we improve it, especially in the athletic environment? We can use simulations in practice. It can help if distractions are present. This helps us to create a game-like simulation and allows the participant to practice decision-making. Simulation training is placing the athlete in real-life scenarios during practice in order to simulate possible distractions and additional areas of focus that could occur during competition. We can use cue words to focus. Focusing on instructional and motivational words can help our participants as well. Our concentration cues, we can develop a list of positive, focus cues such as self-talk or visual reminders to quickly shift one's attention to appropriate points throughout a performance. Try to employ non-judgmental thinking. Self-talk is helpful if you can establish a routine and use it both before and during an event. Focus on controllables versus uncontrollables and make 2 lists. One list should be the controllables, which are those factors the athlete can do something about, such as the response to a mistake or a bad play. The other list should be the uncontrollables, which are the elements of performance that the athlete cannot do anything about, such as the crowd's response to an athlete's mistake. We can also try to practice distraction drills before an event. Distraction drills identify distractors and deliberate attempts to shift one's attention away from the areas of required focus in order to practice shifting back to relevant cues during a performance. There are some individual differences between concentration and attention. As arousal increases beyond optimal, we rely most heavily on our best developed attentional ability. You don't have to memorize this, but research has been conducted in this area and explains how different people have different capabilities for developing broad internal attention. Other research explains why some individuals are better at sorting large amounts of information, and also why those with more experience have less pressure and perform better in critical situations. Some people appear to be more sensitive to environmental or external information than do others. These individuals react more to the environment and to other people more effectively. Some people are more capable of narrow, non-distractible attention. This is common with top performers, and these individuals can follow through more effectively on the tasks and often take it to the highest levels. In the end, we have to figure out how to play to people's strengths, including our own. While thoughts can be overwhelming, we do have the ability to control our thinking. The ability to habitually control thinking depends on the appropriateness of the situation or style, the level of confidence in that situation, and alterations in physiological arousal. What are some strategies that can keep attention? We can utilize a dress rehearsal. We might actually have players put on their uniforms and come out to their walk-up song, or pretend like they're starting a game. We can try the rehearsal of simulated competition experiences. We can participate in mental rehearsals. We can also focus on our technique, and we tend to move slowly through these skills. We are going to take the last few minutes of this lecture to practice concentration training. Are you ready? I want you to put down your pens and just listen. We will go through a guided concentration training example. First, I want you to focus on your breathing for a few breaths. Breathe in and out. Focus on centering your breathing and focus to deepen your breathing. Pay attention to what you hear. Identify sounds and label them. Then listen to all the sounds without labeling them. Let all of the sounds go. Next, I want you to become aware of your bodily sensations. Identify and label them. Feel all of your body's sensations and let them go. Next, attend to your emotions and your thoughts. Let all of your emotions appear gently Let all of your emotions and your thoughts appear gently without force. Slowly empty all emotions and thoughts. Let them all go. I want you to open your eyes. Focus on one object. This time, I want you to refocus your gaze and take in as many objects as possible. With this concentration training, we would repeat this and allow our athletes to practice building on their skills. We could increase time or the number of sessions that an athlete has each week. And I look forward to reading your responses from your assignment for concentration.